All right, welcome to live stream for the year number 2, and I'm excited to be here. I really just want to say thank you for anyone that is joining, whether it's straight up front. If you're here in the room at the moment, I can see that there's a couple of people. But if you are rewatching this as well, make sure you do let me know in the comments below, so that I know that you're part of the rewatch party as well. It's an awesome night tonight. It's been a busy day, actually. I'm just going to chit chat for a little bit just while I give everyone a chance to kind of get in. For those that are coming, I know obviously I'm very punctual, I'm very on time, but I want to give everyone a chance to just jump in, and then we're going to jump into it. For those that are in the room already, make sure you say hi. I can see I've got Captain Opshop Nerd. Hey man, really do appreciate you being here. And if you are some of the other lurkers around, make sure you say hi as well, so I know who I'm chatting to. Otherwise, this is just going to be a normal video. I'll just be sharing on my analytics for February 2021. I'll be talking a bit about the reselling analytics and some of the data points around that, and also touching on my running and also some of the updates around my other areas of goals that I have in place at the moment for 2021. So don't be shy, do leave a comment, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions along the way as well. So if you do have questions, chuck them in the chat box. Really excited to be able to answer anything I can. I mean, that's really the whole purpose of doing these live streams, is to be able to share a journey, to share some transparency, and also show you what I do know and what I don't know, because I don't have it all together. That's for sure. I've got a good setup here at the moment. You can probably actually see it on the video right down just here. I've got my chat happening as well, so I'm just seeing who's coming in. Oh, I can see I've got Diver Flipper, got Jason as well. What's going on, fellas? Thank you so much for being here. It's a big pleasure, and I'm so excited when I have new people coming in. I mean, I know you both, but I haven't always had everyone that I talk to and chat to in the live stream, so it's always nice to have new people and different people in the chat. FitLab, Aaron, nice to meet you in here, man. It's been a while. So happy to have you here. Actually, isn't it like really early for your morning? Aaron, FitLab, like you're in New York, right? Like crazy stuff. Appreciate you being here. So this is awesome. We've got a full house. We've got a few different people here from all areas of the world. So I'm honored. I'm blessed. I'm overwhelmed. It's great. This is cool. Awesome. So feel free to chat among yourselves as well. But if you do have questions, I will try and refer back to the chat and see if I can answer. Oh, I've got Drew and Sarah as well. Yep, no worries. That's fine. All I can ask for is you to listen. You don't have to look at anything visual either. I will be talking through it, but there will be plenty of visuals on screen. Wow, this is cool. Got a full house. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's great. All right. So what we're going to get into, just for those that are joining, we're going to go through the YouTube analytics, just how I'm progressing so far for February, and we'll look at it for the whole year as well. And then we'll jump into the reselling, jump into the running, and talk about a few other things that I'm working on in the different goals. And if you can see my backdrop as well, this is starting to get bigger and bigger. I'm doing this on purpose to see if anyone notices. Trying to, just flex some of the collection that's growing slowly but surely. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying just being able to relive some of the childhood moments, and also just building out some of the different hobbies that I didn't realize I enjoyed so much. So bit of a flex there in the background. Just quickly see from FitLab, I'll bring this up. Hey pal, I'm here for a few minutes. First, okay, yeah, I thought it was a bit early or late for you, man. Yeah, go get some rest, buddy. We'll chat later. Thanks for being here. Yeah, 5:30, man. Jeepers. Here we are. I'm about to go to bed myself after this, and you're still up hustling away. And Jason, yeah, 4:30. Jeepers, so early. Okay, well, thank you guys. feeling extra special to have you guys on here. So really do appreciate all the way from America. All right, I'm going to bring up my analytics. YouTuber problems. Funny stuff. Now, you guys should be able to see this. Hopefully, it's not too small on screen. I do apologize if it is a bit too small, but I'll be talking through it anyway. So what we're going to be jumping in on is having a look at February. And I haven't gone through these specifically. I mean, obviously, I've had it open, but I haven't gone through in detail. So this is pretty cool to see. This is interesting. We're sitting at some pretty cool stats right here. I'm just digesting this real time. So we've had an increase of views for February 2021, which is interesting to see. And we've had an increase of watch time and subscribers are also up. But what's interesting is that, oh, okay, so it's not an increase. It's just saying per my average usual over the last year, I'm sitting a little higher than the average. But in terms of compared to January, I'm a little bit behind, which January has actually been an outlier. If you see that, that's a smashing month. In terms of watch time, it's a bit similar. I trended all the way up for the year, dropped down. January set the scene really high, and then February is it's sticking pretty consistent, which I'm not complaining about. Uh, uh, I'm just reading some of the comments at the same time. I really do appreciate that, Aaron. Oh, Captain, you reckon it work? I'll see if it makes it a bit better. Oh yeah, this is a bit better for you guys. Is that better? That should be a bit better, yeah. Cool. All right, yeah, so we're still trending pretty average, pretty good, a bit higher than usual, so I'm happy with that. And then 8 subscribers, 8 more than usual. I've had a pretty small month compared to January. January we did amazing numbers in terms of growth. We did 58, and I'm happy with 8 more people joining the community in February. Of course, I would love it to be more, but it's all good. So if we scroll down and have a look at what the top videos were for February, what is still very interesting, and this was very much the same for last month as well, was my Melbourne Marathon for 2019. is my most watched video for the month, which is just bizarre because it's a year and a half old. So I mean, I'm not complaining. That it just goes to show that you can have content on your channel and it can be old and it will continue to grow. So that's kind of just continued to grow over the last since October. It's been my top video for the last couple of months, so that's good. My biggest month yet, which is the one I just released just a couple of probably a week ago. I don't know, it wasn't. This is for February. This is my what sold for January. So that's interesting that my January one is currently my most viewed. And then we've got Ride Along Thrift. We've got some low cost haul. So a few different things, a bit of everything, which is nice to see. It's always interesting to reflect and to, I guess, have a look back at what you've achieved. And for me, I do this, well, obviously I do it offline as well, but it's always nice to kind of remind you what you've achieved, but also it tells a story. And that's why I'm very data oriented, because I want to be able to understand what it's telling me so I can see if I can make a change or make a pivot or adjust or flex or whatever I need to do. So you should leverage this information that's available to you. Just having a look at these comments. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But onwards and upwards, slowly and surely, it's going to happen. I know it, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm sharing the journey, because if it was easy, people would find this boring, right? So, all right, let's jump into the reach. So, reach is interesting. Impressions are down. Click-through rate is up though, which is something very positive that I want to see. My views are down, which is okay. That's not the end of the world. And my unique viewers is also down. But what I do like is it means that I'm getting, even though I might not be getting more views or I'm not getting necessarily more impressions, the impressions that I am getting, I'm getting an uplift in terms of people that are actually clicking through. So that's a positive outcome right here. And that's interesting because if I scroll down and have a look where my content's coming, like what's suggesting my content, at the moment, it is still a lot of my own stuff. And that's okay. That's okay. Of course, I would really love to have this, the traffic source coming from other people's content. At the moment, it's majority mine. Whereas my YouTube search stuff is, a lot of it's still coming from running related stuff. So I still think it's going to be a couple of months until my reselling content starts to pick up those trends and get people jumping in from that. Hey, Dan, thanks for being here, mate. Really do appreciate it. All the way from UK. Thank you. So, I mean, this is interesting data. It tells me a few different things, and the traffic sources are coming from browse features, YouTube search, channel pages, suggested videos, external, and others. So getting it from a range of different locations. And if you aren't looking at your YouTube analytics and you're a YouTuber, it's super important because it tells you a story. You need to be looking at it. Engagement time. So watch time hours is down for February, but my average view duration is up. And this is very interesting because I've basically grown 30% in terms of the amount of time people are sticking around. Now, I haven't had a huge I haven't had a huge increase of subscribers, but what this is telling me is that you guys, the ones that are my subscribers, the ones that already exist in the community, you're sticking around longer for the video, which either means you're it means that, you know, either you're loving what I'm doing or you're supporting me for the sake of supporting me, or I'm creating stuff which is enabling you to want to stick around. It's probably a combination of a few things there. So I really do appreciate the love and support, but it's always an interesting fact. And mate, Diary of a Flipper has just it's very true. He never really looked at this stuff. If it grows, it grows. And it's a very good point, right? And I get really stuck on, you know, looking at this data, and sometimes it can be quite overwhelming. I'll be 100% frank when you look at it and you're not getting the results you want. But what I also do try to understand is, well, the data is telling you stuff, and look at the things that is working and things that aren't working. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a quick fix, but it just helps me understand what I'm doing. And plus it's always exciting to see some greens. It's obviously discouraging to see some negatives as well, but that's okay, because sometimes it's just part of the algorithm. So it's all fun and games. Yeah, very much so, Aaron. It's but that's I tend to get most of my reviews from the channel source for some reason, which is okay. If it's from your own channel, that's good. But I think this stuff can change so quickly, and that's why I like to watch it, to see if anything does stick out or something that doesn't look normal, because that's probably something that's going to be like, oh, this is interesting to look at. Good stuff. All right, so if I scroll down, one thing which I mentioned in my last one, and I always remind people about it, is looking at, and once again, this is if you are looking at analytics, there's a section here under engagement called Key Moments for Audience Retention. Now, this actually tells you some very interesting stuff. And I'm just looking at my 2-base trail run. It's telling me who's sticking around in the intro, where people are sticking around the longest. It tells you spikes. It tells you dips. Now, if you are using timestamps, and I said this last time, I feel like a broken record, but if you're using timestamps, this is where you can start to see where your timestamps are actually working and where they're not. So a good example will be for the 2-bays. If you look here, people drop off and then they come in just when I'm starting the race, and then they kind of start to drop off. People are sticking around, but if I see this spike, all of a sudden it's the finish line. People are clicking at the finish line because I've got that as a timestamp. So it just goes to show you that you can leverage the timestamps to get people to go where you want them to go quickly, and get some of that watch time. But also it means that if people want to come in and just get the kick, they can. So it's something to consider. If it depends on your content. So obviously, if you don't put it in, people are going to stick around longer and potentially watch all your video, or they might not. But I like to give people that option, and it seems to have worked really well for me as well. Hey, thanks for joining. Really do appreciate it. It's good to see familiar people coming back to the live streams and checking in. I really do appreciate it so much. So that's the kind of the video stuff. And then if we look at the audience, what's been interesting, and this is not disappearing. There we go. So returning viewers, 273 people returning. It's been pretty consistent across the way. Unique viewers is down. Subscribers we're up 8, but down, from a trend perspective. Not too concerned. This is where it's very interesting. So Diary of a Flip, if you're still here, you're actually pretty famous, man, because you are the second top channel that's actually directing traffic to my channel. So other channels, your audience watches, or sorry, it might be the other way around. So we have a very common interest here. So it's very interesting to see that the channels that that my audience is watching are all, the flipping channels, but there isn't people here looking at the running stuff, which is very interesting. I found that very surprising. But yeah, it's just something to, I found very interesting when I saw that. So it's always pretty cool to see. Sometimes like videos, I'm happy for any and all. Yeah, I think it's a fair thing, Dan, because I think people will jump in and watch what they want to watch, right? And I feel like, well, if I'm here to tell you something or give you a result or give you an answer or, drip feed you along, I want to give people the opportunity to come in and get the 3 minutes of value that they're looking for. But if people have more time, well, then great. I'm sure they'll watch it or listen. So I can respect that. See which segments people tend to watch more or less. Yeah, it is very interesting, and you can spend a lot of time doing this, Aaron. It's it can be quite overwhelming, but I tend to just see what's working, what's not, and have a bit of a play with it. Sometimes I try not to get too focused on it, but I have noticed, especially for the race videos, people are going to the start and jumping straight to the end and just seeing the result, which is fair enough. Makes sense. How much do you think it matters what time or day you publish? Yeah, so this is a good question, right? It's and you can probably see on screen right now. So the reason why a good example of this is I'm doing my live stream at the moment. It's 9:30 p.m. here in Australia, Melbourne, and you can see here that this purple color right here, it says many of my viewers are on at 9 p.m. Now I've done it slightly just after 9 o'clock because I figured people are probably already on, or people have lives and stuff. So I've done it around 9:30, but I will always try to put my videos out around these times. Now, this will vary and can become a bit of a trap, because if I'm putting my content out all at the same time, they might be when my viewers are watching my content. So I'm actually creating these hot spots. But what I actually did is I've adjusted my content on certain days to release it based on what's changing each week or each month. So for instance, Saturday, it's saying 10 a.m. is going to be do it. So that's when I've scheduled my next video for. Whereas Monday, I can't remember what time I got it out, but there's no perfect time for Monday. So, you got to go do a bit of a swing and a miss, but I find it does help out quite a bit. I'm a sucker for a live chat, and this time is good. Otherwise, I'm just working. But yeah, and I think that's right. I mean, a lot of my audience, which is probably the next thing I'll show you, is it doesn't have. Oh, I thought it had the age group of audience in here. It doesn't. That's okay. So, oh yeah, it does down here. So my age group is 35 to 44, which I think this is a bit incorrect, because I know there's people that are younger than that are watching this. But that when I think about that demographic, that age group, they've got families, or they've got kids, or they've been working, or now is their downtime, 9:30 onwards. So this is their chance to kind of kick back and cruise, do what they want to be doing. So that's my chance to kind of jump in and get people potentially listening in the background. So I do leverage that. I 100%. That is why I've got this at 9:30 at night. So it's a fair point. Watch time. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's a fair point. It's good, and it's good that you guys are sharing this between each other as well. Right. So that's that. Before actually, what I'll look at is how I'm going for 2021. Which is interesting. It's Jan's. We had a big spike, and this spike was, this would have been my race day for 2 Base Trail Run. So I had a really big, in-depth of amount of people jump in, just because I posted it in the group that was, so the Facebook group for the 2 Base Trail Run. So I had a lot of people jump in. Hey Tim, how you doing, man? Yeah, actually, it went pretty good, man. It's for this year. It's my 5th top video. In this period. So from January to March 3rd, it's my 5th video in terms of it's had 5 minutes watch time. So about 50% of the video is being consumed by the people that are watching it. It's done all right. It's actually done pretty good. And I actually had a lot of feedback on this, that people enjoyed the, kind of like that rush and whatnot. So if you look here, you can see at the start, people kind of dropped off pretty much and they were sticking around, but then there was another spike right at this point, which is the finish line. So people jumped to see what the result was, but you can see where the 2 dips are. So yeah, it went pretty good, Tim. And just for everyone that's in the chat, so Tim was the one that actually hosted and set up the Handy Classic run. And if you haven't watched that video, I do encourage you. It's a bit of fun. And yeah, it's actually something that you could do for yourself or with some of your friends or family. It's real. Actually, if I was doing a birthday party for a running group, this is the type of event to do. So Tim, I think you've got a nice little niche right here. It's really good stuff, mate. All right, let's go back over here. What else we got here? I'm not younger than 30. Sorry, man. We don't need to share ages. That's fine. If Sunday and Wednesday are the best days to release a video based on when most of my viewers are online, do you think it's worth waiting for one of those days to release? Well, I think it can do a benefit, but that's assuming that just because people are on, they're going to watch your content, right? They might be on and so for me, if I'm on YouTube, I'm on it because that's when I have time. And then I have to then pick and choose what I'm going to watch. So, yes, you could drop it and they're on, then they're like, oh, you've released a new video. Sweet. I'm going to jump on that. Whereas I might see your video, add it to the watch later. And then when I've got my next, hour of free time, I might then watch it. So I think it could go either way, mate. It really could. That's my opinion anyway. My top video is a collection video at almost 1 million views. So try and do some of those every now. Then your after numbers. Okay. That's a fair point. Yeah, look, I mean, yeah, I am trying to get more views. I am trying to get more subscribers, but my honest 100% goal here is to build out 1,000 true fans. I could have 10,000 subscribers, but if you're only having 1% actually do anything engage, well, it's not really good. If I have 10,000, I've got 10% people engaged and locked in and loving the community. That's 1,000 people. And it means if I was ever to monetize my content, to have 1,000 people, willing to go in, buy something, or watch your content, watch an ad, that gives me pretty much a very nice, strong consistency of 1,000 people. So that's really my long-term goal. But yeah, 1 million views will obviously get a lot of eyeballs in front of my content and potentially, give me the chance to grow even further. So it does make a lot of sense. Jashim, man, dude, you guys, you're all like, I mean, this is great. It's good if you're up early and doing stuff, but if you haven't gone to bed yet, I mean, this is crazy. So Jashim, he's also from US, so it must be pretty early there, man. Jeepers. Good stuff. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the love, Jashim. We've just been going through some of the analytics and seeing what's been happening for the whole year and seeing the dips and seeing what's working and what's not. And overall, it's been pretty good. So now waking up to start the day. Good man. It must be 5:30, 4:30 there for you. FitLab, how much do you think it helps to set a premiere in advance of your video releasing to build some hype? Yeah, look, I think this does work. I've never been successful with it, to be honest. It hasn't really played in my favor. Actually, the only one it did work well for me was, which isn't even here anymore, but it was for I'm taking a chance on me, which was when I released that I was, taking a jump, stepping away from my full-time job and actually just spending the year focusing on this. And I built that hype because I was able to release it to a few different audiences. So that built a lot of hype. But for just my everyday content, no, I'm not doing it. I think for you, FitLab, Aaron, it might make a bit difference because your content comes out monthly or a bit longer. So it does build that hype. So you could leverage that. Cammy boy, good to see you too, mate. Really do appreciate you being here. Really do. All right, so now we're going to jump, look, if people have questions around the analytics, please keep asking and we can jump back to it. But what I would like to do now is I'm going to jump into some of the, actually, I'm going to give you a glimpse of my dashboard of all my goals, but we're going to focus a bit more on the reselling content first, how I'm doing in terms of progressing with my reselling. And we'll then jump into some other things as well. So hopefully this will be big enough. I can make this a bit bigger. And I know that Captain, you'll be super excited for this. You should be able to see this. I'll move out Cameron so we can see it on screen. Okay, so now it says day 52 here, so I'm going to put some clarity here. And if anyone doesn't have any context here, I'll explain it. So day 52 that's 52 days since I started tracking all this information, which is coming from the 11th of Jan. And that's when I kind of took a chance on me and focusing on, my reselling, on building out my Furrii lifestyle podcast, and focusing on the YouTube and just my running and all that jazz, right? Now, there was a bunch of different goals that I kind of set up for the year, and that was around YouTube. It was around, there was stuff around video games, stuff around audiobooks, stuff around my share portfolio. I have a goal for running. I want to do 2,000 kilometers this year. I want to do 12 half marathons. Then I've got stuff around my podcast of having 11 guests on the podcast at least, a goal to have 100 podcast fans. And then I've got just some dashboard data around keeping me honest to how I'm getting to my $100,000 of revenue goal for reselling this year. And that's revenue. It's not profit, revenue, just to be very clear. So this information here just keeps me honest. I love to be able to see it. Average sale price at the moment, average daily revenue. You can see what it's changing. So my average sale price for today, that is And then today's sales, which is $94.94, which is a nice number. Over here, we've got a tracker showing where I'm at. Obviously, it's only going up to about 7,000 at the moment. And then this one down here is kind of like my moving average, which has been a nice view to see. This goes up till April at the moment. But, you know, when I first started, it shot really up, and then it's kind of starting to get its consistency now when we're sitting around that $81 mark of what I'm getting from a daily perspective. It's I appreciate that, Captain, but it's funny because I've always been using Excel, and what I love now that I'm doing this for myself, I can create it how I like it, but you know, it's going to be different for everyone. So I do appreciate those kind words. Thank you. So the key thing here that we'll talk about is reselling first. So you can see over here, if that's not too small, is my reselling goals for the year. So I have a strong ambition and a big ambition to hit $100,000 in revenue for this year. And I've kind of put some milestone dates, and there's a few things around these dates. Like I've got 9th of Feb, 11th of March, 10th of April, a few different weird things here. Some of them I might be just because it might be end of financial year. One of them's my birthday. One of them's the end of the year, of course. And then just some random dates here and there. And what I've also done is each level is a higher percentage. On average, I think it works out to be about 13 or 15% higher than the previous month. Can't remember exactly, but I remember when I was doing it, I was trying to set the challenge. So obviously 9th of Feb goal, 1900, blown that out of the water. 11th of March, we've already done that number. So obviously it's what's the date today? It's the 4th today, and we're already past the 11th of March goal. 10th of April, we're 60% there. 10th of May, we're 38%. So, you know, there's all this staggering amounts of data, which is telling me or helping me keep myself honest. And I do actually have some other tables and different sections, which actually tells me how behind I am, or how ahead I am. And I'm way behind for the December number. Like, I think if I was keeping the same throughput at the moment, sales, I'm not going to hit the 100,000 for like 2 years. So, you know, it helps me, keeps me honest, and it's reminding me that I need to do some things that I need to, you know, step up and up my game. Yeah, this is a very good point. Oops, I just closed it. Captain, is very, very true, very true. And this isn't automated at the moment. So at the moment I am, well, some of it is automated in the sense of how I'm getting the data, but I am plotting it in here and there in the way I like it. And the way I'm doing that at the moment is because it's helping me build routines, whether it's telling me how much sales I've got or how much kilometers or whatever it is. It's helping me building that habit. And then, yes, what I will be looking to do is how I can automate this and pull data, and because I know the Google Sheets does that a lot easier. Plus I can access it and change it from anywhere at any time. So totally agree with you. And I might even pick your brain a little bit, because Google Sheets, I mean, it's very much the same, but there's quite a few different things or styles in that. But I think in the longer run, it will save me some time. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. Does anyone have questions about this? Please do ask. But if I jump over to some of the data points, you can see, and look, I mean, this is kind of the same stuff that we just went through, but I've got my January data there from last time, but this is all of February of what I did. Items listed, drafts sold. So just showing you that, you know, there was some day, I think I had a 24-day streak of sales in a row, which was totally unbelievable for me. And then all of a sudden, 27th of Feb, I had 0 sale, and then the 28th, I had a third. So, I mean, had 3. So it was nice to have a 24-day streak of back-to-back sales, and some of them were high. Like I had a 224-day, had a 120-day, 88-day, 49. So a big range of different things. Some stats up here that I've just pulled across was my February margin was about 47%. Daily revenue was looking at around $98 on average for February. So when you do that math to about 30 days, I came in a bit slightly different. This is just rough average. If anyone hasn't seen my what sold video for February, go check it out. It's got all the data there. But 30 days, we basically came in around $2,900. And potential profit per month, we did around $1,394. I think we ended up doing about $1,298 actually after fees and all that jazz. So pretty good to look at those numbers. The daily revenue was a lot higher than January. So January, our daily revenue was $63, where February worked out to be $98. So really stepping it up there, which was which was quite encouraging to see. So that's that on the reselling. It's exciting to be able to track towards this big goal. And I just released I was a bit scared to do it. I released a short or TikTok on doing this and putting it out there and just making people known of it. I've had some really positive feedback on that, and it's been quite encouraging, but it's very scary. Like, like this isn't easy stuff. It's very crazy. Shim, my man, how do I have time for YouTube? Well, I'm doing, well, I don't know. It's a priority, right? I mean, I'm doing 3 videos a week. One of them's running, one of them's reselling, and one of them is, I guess, content in general. And I think the reason why I've been able to do it is because I'm not necessarily creating content, I'm documenting content. So the video that's coming out on Saturday, which I've already done, is me just giving an update about something and trying to push people to go look at something. And that's actually about the podcast. It's to talk about that I've released the podcast and to tell everyone, go check it out. So that was very easy because all it is just an update. It's just a chat. Whereas my running content, once again, I'm already out running. I'm filming, doing the running. I don't have to go create something. I can do angles and all that jazz, but I'm doing it anyway. And then when it's my reselling content, at the moment, it's just being me taking the GoPro while I'm going thrifting. So it's, once again, it's documenting. Whereas some of the content that I'll be starting to do down the track a little bit, and I'm challenging myself with, is trying to create some of that new value content. I mean, this is valuable by sharing and sharing a journey, but I want to be able to, create content of how to build a dashboard or how to, get more sales or how to do this or what are these tips and tricks to do. So bringing in that evergreen content. Now that stuff is what takes me a lot of time because I have to plan it. I have to script it. I have to make sure it all makes sense. I have to, do all those additional steps. Whereas when I'm just sharing and I'm being transparent and authentic and documenting, I don't actually have to create a lot of work. It's just the editing that takes time. So that's my approach to it. And now I'll actually be having 4 videos coming out because, well, you're hearing it here first, is I've started my podcast, and that will be a video/audio podcast. So I'll have a video on my podcast YouTube channel as well as my 3 videos on this channel. And in that video that I'm releasing on Saturday, which is an update to, I've released the content or whatever. I've released the podcast. That will be talking about, well, how am I actually managing all this? Because you've kind of called me out there, Jashim. I'm like, I'm doing a lot. And I actually answer that question in that video to say, I'm getting a lot of questions from people. I'm doing a lot, Chris. How am I staying on top of this? And I talk about it in that video. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing probably in the next 1 or 2 months when I'm starting to get into the flow of the podcast and really starting to, get some of these numbers and crunch them out. That's when it's going to start getting interesting. And I've actually shared some things that I will be doing. I don't want to, give you all the answers here because, I want you to go watch the video when it comes out on Saturday. But yes, it's a very good point. And that's why I'm doing these live streams, because I want to make it as clear and evident and authentic and honest as possible that I might not do this. I might not hit the goals. I might not. And I'm already behind my subscriber goal count that I wanted to be 1,000 subscribers by the end of March. Now that's still possible, but it's slowed down. So it means it probably won't happen, but that's fine because my goal is still to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. And then once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I want to hit 2,000 subscribers. So I'm not here to say that I'm going to achieve everything perfect. I'm here to say that these are my goals and this is how I'm trying to achieve them. While we're on this dashboard, we've already touched on the reselling, but, I've got stuff around video games. So it's a bit of a funny goal, but I kind of said I wanted to complete 3 video games this year because I haven't completed a video game for I'm talking 10 years. Which to me is quite sad. So, thanks to Shim, I appreciate that. So, that's one area that I'm trying to do, and I am playing a few games, and I'm going to start release a video on that, and that will be one of the 3 videos that I release on. I'm listening to audiobooks this year while I'm running, so making sure I provide updates on that. And I've got a goal to hit $400,000 in my share portfolio or investments. And at the moment I'm at 275, and that one is tracking, like, I can actually show it here because it doesn't reveal anything personal, but you can see it here. It's up and down, right? And what I love to be able to see is to see this information on a daily basis, because what will be interesting is when I get to the end of the year, it's going to tell me what was the average movement amount per day. And then it gives me a year of data, which can help me see, well, what type of my investments portfolio is doing, and do I need to adjust it? And I can't really do that until you have a big bunch of data. At the moment, I'm trending down by 0.3%, but that's okay because it's still early days into the year. So not too fussed by that. What are your current streams of income to your 100K goal? And do you have any passive income in the coming future? So this is for the 100K is strictly for reselling. At the moment, it is just the eBay stuff, right? So that I'm thrifting and all that jazz. In terms of if you're talking about 100K from other areas, that won't be related to this, because I want to do 100K strictly from reselling. At the moment, that is from thrift shops or op shops, and then reselling it on eBay. I am going to look to see how I can spice that up, whether it might be drop shipping stuff or getting in more bulk stuff, and seeing to dabble in that, because I have done drop shipping in the past with a few different things. I've always been doing those kind of stuff. I've just never done it on a large scale. So I'm starting to look at how I can start to, because at the moment things are moving progressively quite well, but there's going to be a point where I need to start making massive change in order to get massive result. Otherwise, I'm not going to make that 100K by no chance, whether it means I have to change the types of items I'm doing, or buying bigger, like more expensive items that might get me a return of $3,000 or $4,000, or maybe it needs to be quantity. So that I'm starting to research and discover. But I think I've clarified it for you that this 100K revenue is strictly from reselling. I've got other sources of, other than really my share portfolio, I do have investment properties as well. So I do have a few other income sources at the moment. They're not very big, but the idea is that the more I do this and more I share, is hopefully I'll start to get something behind the YouTube channel, and also the podcast. Eventually I'll monetize that as well. That's obviously, that could be a year or 2 down the line, but that wouldn't in the long term. So my focus for this year is to use reselling as my main stream of income. I do have a positive cash flow at the moment. It's not very high, but it's not the end of the world. To be 100% frank, for anyone that's listening to this in the post, but anyone that's in the chat as well, is I currently have enough paid leave, because I haven't quit my job. I've just taken a leave of absence at the moment. I've got enough paid leave until June, till the middle of the year. So I'm leveraging and milking that. And I've been sharing this with a lot of people in the terms that that's an unfair advantage that I can benefit from. I can leverage that. Not everyone has that benefit. So I'm doubling down on that, because it's an opportunity of a lifetime, and making the most of that. And then once I get to the end of that 6 months, I'll then, suss out what the next step is, and how do I go about, do I just take complete unpaid leave? Do I leave the job or whatever? It'll probably just be unpaid leave, because what I want to do is I want to remove the distraction of a full-time job and focus 100% on this stuff, because when I can remove those distractions, I can bring together that entire risk and make it my true focus. Because as risky as it is, the more I've got intention to that risk, the more I can have a bigger reward, because I'm investing the time into it too. So that's my intention there. Any questions on this? Before I jump onto my running stuff, I know the content that I have here isn't not everyone's going to be wanting to see the running. This dashboard I've had a few questions of. I've been giving a few sneak peeks here and there to some people, and there's been a few questions, but it's an exciting stuff, right? It keeps me honest. I love updating this daily and seeing it come through, because it keeps me honest. I really do enjoy it. You seem like analyst guy, dude. That tracking data review is going to give you some great insight. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Is maybe 3 months in, 6 months in, 9 months in, 12 months in, it's going to give me some massive information that I can probably leverage and look back and reflect on. If anything, it'll be massive lessons learned. So that data I've never had before. I mean, it's probably available, but not in the way I exactly want it, especially for like the share market stuff or the daily sales or those kind of things. And I do have other trackers that I'm tracking for other things, which, you know, is more for, you know, other stuff. But this is the one that I'm trying to make a bit more public. Mark, my man, how you doing? We're just going through some of the goals that I have for the year, man. If you've just joined, really do appreciate you being here. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. It's exciting stuff. I really do enjoy it, and I think that's what it's all about. I want to share the journey, right? It's I kind of get very frustrated with just seeing highlight reels of, you know, someone that's done $100,000. It's like, cool, that's great, but yeah, there's a lot of hard work that goes behind it, and I want to see if it's even possible to do it versus is it not possible to do it. So either way, we're gonna find out. Hey, buddy, you're Scotland, right? I think you're in Scotland. Am I correct? I'm pretty sure you are. It's we've got a big range of people in here. We've got people from New York. We've got people UK. I believe you're in Scotland, mate. We've got people in Australia. This is great. Really, really appreciate everyone jumping in here. It means the world to me. And just in time, mate, because I'm jumping into some of the running stuff now. So, yep, you are in Scotland. There you go. True story. So just to give everyone a reminder, the goals that I had for running this year is a few different things. I wanted to do a half marathon every month. I'm going to be doing my first 50K ultra marathon later in the year, probably around September, and just waiting for that to open up. And I also wanted to have a stronger ratio of building up what I used to call a 5K run or my casual run. I want to move my 5K run to a 10K run. So I'm tracking that as well. And then I'm just tracking my general running stats. And I do want to try and come out at the end of the year with a better, I guess, management of my heart rate. So keeping it lower so I can really see that endurance starting to show. And I've just seen a nice comment from Tim. Thanks, man. I'm not a video game player, but I love that. So, well, for me, that's a mental health thing, because if I'm not playing video games, to me, that's telling me that I'm not taking enough time to take a break. And if anyone, I mean, just before we move on, I'll just quickly hide this. In the background, there is a few other things that I will probably start to get into down the line, which won't be just around video games, but I've got Pokemon cards and other little hobbies down there that I want to start to share more and more of as well. And so that we'll chat about that at the end of the stream. Just answer this question. Average sale price, I don't know if you need to focus on. If your model is high, then maybe my main three are to track hourly pay rate, average daily revenue, and projected month gross. Yeah, I saw your I think you messaged me about this. That's a very interesting point. I don't know if your model is high. Yeah. It's interesting. And I think at the moment, so last month I didn't have, sorry guys, before we go into the running, last month I didn't have some of this information, and each month I'm adding a little more or a little less or changing it. So I think as I progress, I'll probably start to change it. The hourly pay rate is a bit scary at the moment, because obviously I'm investing a lot of time getting everything set up. And there's a little hint of how that will change a bit in my video that's coming out on Saturday. So I don't want to spoil too much there, but I really appreciate this comment, because you're right. There is some different things that I'm going to have to start to think about from a different perspective. Really appreciate the input, guys. Really do. Get on it, man. You need to get on it. All right. So to the running. So I've kind of broken it down, and I'm only tracking this at the end of each month. So January, we had a pretty solid month. This isn't too small, but I'll make it a bit bigger. So January, we did well. February was slightly less activities. Well, makes sense because it's a shorter month. I did less kilometers. Average distance was about the same, even though I did one less run. Max distance was only half marathon. I did the 27.5K in January. Total activity time were about 2 hours difference. So yeah, it makes sense. The data there is pretty casual or expected. Heart rate has come down from an average perspective, which I'm pretty happy with. and my run cadence has gone up, which is nice, and my average speed is higher, or average pace is higher, which it makes sense because, I've done less distance and less runs, but, to see my heart rate trending down and my pace not deliberately being faster, because that's not my intent, it's showing me something interesting there, but it's very hard to really understand what this data is telling me yet, because it's only 2 months. I think I need about 3 or 4 months of data, and I'll start to see some of the trends. From a half marathon perspective, I've done 2 half marathons now, and I've done a bit longer than half marathons, but I'm just tracking the half marathons to the dot. So half marathon time, first one I did 2 hours and 30, second one 3 hours. That was on a trail, so big difference there. But what's interesting is the heart rate is, is completely different as well, which makes sense because I was running slower. So I think this kind of dilutes those numbers. Didn't do any races in Feb, which is fine. I do have a race coming up on Saturday for March, which is the Redwood Forest run at Warburton Trail Fest, which is 25K. So I'm excited to do that. And then the final goal, well, that's on here, is around the 10K. So my ratio of 10Ks or more for the month. Now, January, we did about 29%. We're higher than 10K. And Feb, we were about 25%, which isn't too bad. So it will be interesting to see how that goes over the coming months. From a dashboard perspective, I'm trying to do 2,000 kilometers for the month. For the year. I'm at 256 at the moment. If I actually look at my Strava real time, it actually tells me how far behind I am. So I'm just going to quickly check that and see what it says for anyone that's, so you can see it on screen. You probably, I don't know if you can see that very well, but maybe if I change this, doing 2 things at once. There you go. So, I'm currently, this is in March, so I'm at 264 kilometers. I still need 1,700 to go. I'm behind plan by 80 kilometers. So I still have a while to go, but I think once I start training for my different races and my ultra, that should start to pick up quite natural. So I'm not too concerned by that at all. Okay, so that's the running stuff. So running's going really well. I actually had to take a week off because I had the man flu for a bit, just a bit of fatigue actually. So I had to take that off, but that's not a problem because rest is good for the body anyway. So, what do we got here? Sometimes it feels like I'm grinding as hard as people like you, and well, it's good. So, but I think this is relative to everyone because we all have different, I guess, how do I say this the right way, is we all have different capability in terms of how we can stretch ourselves. Now, I've always been one that I don't like doing nothing. And sometimes I've always felt guilty playing video games. That's why I actually set it as a goal. So then I don't feel guilty playing video games, because if I'm not doing something productive, I get frustrated with myself, which is a bit unhealthy, to be honest. I think you need to find time to rest, and also you need to find time to be hustling and doing your stuff. So it really comes down to priority, but you got to be careful with, burnout and things like that as well, because the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to someone else, because there's someone always doing something more and there's someone always doing less. But at the same time, we're all on a different part of a timeline in terms of progression. So, I might be early days and I might be doing a lot, but, I might have a different skill set in something which enables me to do this in a different way that's more effective than someone else. Whereas someone else might just be starting, and all of a sudden they're getting involved with reselling, and all of a sudden they get all these free items given to them, and then they're selling them for $1,000 each and they're making a lot of money. So sometimes this data can, I want to make sure I'm trying to be as transparent as possible, Jashim. So I appreciate that thought as well. I'm not never want to be here just saying, hey, look what I'm doing, and say, look at me. But I'm more saying, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to achieve, and your feedback's more than welcome. But I don't want to ever make someone feel like they're not doing enough either. 100%, mate. Like it was really good having I was super nervous taking the week off, because obviously I'm doing a race in 2 days, and to do 25K K and, not being running, it makes you feel a bit anxious, right? But I feel fine. I feel confident and I feel good. So I think it should be some good fun. Plus, it's a fun race anyway. I don't think it's that serious. 100%, Tim. And that's why it can get very overwhelming. I mean, even looking at my YouTube stats and then seeing the other people that have just been doing it. I've been doing YouTube for a good, almost 6 years, and I'm at 689. I know people that have done it half the time and they're at 2,000. And that, to me, I'm like thinking, what the heck? Here I am busting my guts. And this is a good one for you, Jashim. Here I am busting my guts. I've been doing it for a while and I haven't seen what I think I deserve. I think I deserve 1,000. But when I think about it from that perspective is when I go through the data points, if anything, I might not have huge numbers, but the people that are watching my content, I have a deeper relationship with them. They're actually watching it longer than they were 3 months ago, but I haven't really grown, a lot of numbers. So if anything, I might not be growing broader, but I'm growing deeper. And the other thing is, by the time I do get to 1,000, not that once I get to 1,000, everything changes. Nothing really changes, to be honest. It's just a number. It just means I'm going to have a bit more experience because I've been on the journey longer. So when I have 1,000, or let's say when I have 10,000, I'll know how to maybe leverage or, I guess, drive or articulate or navigate a bit more of a viewership because, if all of a sudden I went viral and I have 70,000 people tomorrow and they're all asking me questions and stuff, that would be very overwhelming. And I'm already super busy. If all of a sudden I've got, 70,000 people to attend to and answering comments and questions and stuff, that could be a very interesting, sticky situation. So I think at the moment, the circumstances I'm in are very, very good. And it all comes down to perspective, right? And what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, it's something to take on board. Enjoying a nice break, but it's dope to see you're grinding and pursuing goals also. Okay, cool. That's fine. I mean, I didn't know. I just kind of read it and I didn't want to think I don't, I didn't want to be, saying the wrong thing. And it's, that's good that you're having a break. Good man. We all need to take more breaks. I think the main man that probably needs to take a break, and I think he's kind of dropped off now, is FitLab. So he's always grinding a bit too hard. All right, just anxious of time. So we've chatted about the running, we've chatted about the YouTube, we've chatted about the reselling. What's next on my goals? So the video games. I have been playing video games at the moment, but I'm going to do a separate video on that. I haven't finished any yet, so still got a long way to go. In terms of my business, Furrii Your Lifestyle, that will be my video that I'm releasing for anyone that's listening in advance. On Saturday, my video that I'm dropping is, hey, I've started my podcast. I've released my podcast. It's happening. So that dropped last weekend, 28th of Feb on Sunday. Episode 1 came out. It was a bit of a teaser reel. And that's it's been really good. It's been well received. I'm quite happy on the feedback that I've received so far. I think I've had about 18 downloads, which is quite overwhelming. It's very nice, and I'm quite excited and encouraged by that. So it's very nice. Episode 2 comes out on Sunday, and then episode 3 will be the next week, and then episode 4. So it's weekly episodes. It's so good to finally get that out because it's one less thing that I have to try and achieve, because one of my goals was to release a podcast. Now I've released it. It takes a bit of the pressure off, but now I need to start focusing on building out the guests, building out the intention, and building out that flow and just making it work. So I've already got 7 guests that I'm working with and just teaming up with and meeting and greeting and doing all that jazz. And it's been a nice journey, and it's an interesting experience doing this because I've always wanted to do it, and now that I'm doing it, it's just very exciting, encouraging, but also there's a lot of work involved, right? So I'm enjoying that process. It's exciting. For those that don't know, so the podcast is called Furrii Your Lifestyle, and it's a podcast literally having conversations with people about lifestyles, hustles, and passions, right? And the way I break it down is that, we all tend to have these talents, these dreams, these ideas, these skill sets, and we don't necessarily know what we have. And sometimes we neglect them, or sometimes we don't think they're good enough. Well, the intent of the podcast is to encourage people to I guess, identify themselves with a passion or a purpose or a talent, or to take inspiration from hearing what other people are doing, so that in the longer run or in the short term, that they actually take action and do their hustle or do their passion or pursue their passion. So I'm doing that with, creating content that is, I guess, helping people get into that mindset, and then also bringing on guests of people that are doing it already, starting out, or doing it, or have done it. And that way you're seeing all areas of the progression. Because for me, I can't go on to a podcast and tell people this is what you need to do to be successful, because I haven't been successful in what I'm doing yet. But what I can do is take people on a journey personally and saying, well, I'm building out a podcast, or I'm going for $100,000 in reselling, or, I'm doing all these things. They're my goals, they're my ambitions, and I'm sharing that journey along the way. Whereas other people, they're doing other stuff, and other people are further down the line in what they're doing, and tapping on their shoulder and getting them to share their processes, their systems, what they're doing, what not to do, I think will go a long way in inspiring and encouraging others to, take a step or a leap of faith, or maybe they just need to change what they're currently doing because they might already be doing something that they're passionate about. So that's the intent there. I'm excited to do that, and if you want to check it out, you can actually jump on over at the moment, and you can go have a sneak peek. I'll get in the works. Yes, I do. Cool. So you can go check that out if you want to. You can go to the podcast. It's on Spotify. You can go to the YouTube. Go subscribe on that YouTube as well. But yeah, a video on this is coming out on Saturday, so you'll be able to see it. So plenty more to come on that. Just wanted to give an update that's progressing. It's all happening. Very excited to be able to finally make that happen, because it's been a dream of mine for a good, about 5 years. I think that's the best way to go and learn on is people who go through. Yeah, look, I mean, when it comes to content, I'm not one that I'm kind of just literally talked about, maybe we have doubt in ourselves and not believing in what we have, but I don't enjoy creating content for the sake of creating content. What I do enjoy doing is creating something which is sharing, or that that's the whole reason why I'm doing YouTube, because I'm creating stuff that I enjoy. A lot of people tell me I need to create this if I want to grow. I need to do that if I want to grow. Well, I'm not here to do what other people necessarily want me to do. I'm here to share a journey. I'm here to have fun. And obviously, I think people can learn and will enjoy the content that I'm creating, because it's not for everyone. And I'm jumping from running to reselling to podcast stuff to all these different things. But I think there's something of value in different ways for different people, and that's the lifestyle I'm creating. So I don't want to adjust my lifestyle to make something for people that they want to watch. I want to create something which is all round, which is my life. And if people want to watch it, well, then please come along for the journey. It's and then I know that people are watching it because they want to watch it. They're not just watching it because I'm putting clickbait thumbnails up, and what I mean by that is, sometimes they can be a bit overwhelming. And of course, let me rephrase that. My thumbnails, I am putting that, elusive, what have I done, or pointing to this or pointing to that. But, a lot of people leverage, whether it's, females, or they leverage, interesting types of styles of pictures, and to get people in there when it's got nothing to do with what they're sharing. So the intent is really to be as authentic as possible and share that journey. That's fair enough, man. And the beauty of it is it's a podcast, it's a video podcast. You can listen to it anytime you want. But if you can't, that's okay, because it's another thing. I get that as well. Here I am doing this, a live stream, and I've got 3 videos coming out a week, and then I'm saying, hey, I'm doing a podcast, go listen to that too. 100%, man. It's not for everyone. I'm the same. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. There's about 3 or 4 that I listen to religiously, but it's more content, it's more time, it's more distraction. And if you're trying to do something, you need to get rid of distractions if you're trying to hustle on. So I totally get it. No worries, man. Thanks, mate. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Really do appreciate it. You don't need to apologize. Go do what you got to do, and we'll chat later, man. Really do appreciate it. at growing lawyers and around content, and that's what exactly we're doing and why. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Vilab and Aaron. We've had a few chats on this as well, and at the end of the day, I'm not in this for the short term. I'm in it for the long term, and I've been doing this already for 5-6 years. So I haven't given up yet, and I don't plan to give up anytime soon. I'm excited for the opportunities or the things that will come, and whether it's relevant to what I'm doing right now, or maybe it will change. But that's all part of the journey. That's what I'm here to share. Yeah, Jashim, dude, Jashim, your content. Every time I watch your content, I'm just like, oh man, how does he do it? So, like, you make all your stuff look so flipping good and so easy. And I'm not trying to compare and stuff, but it's always encouraging because you have a real amazing talent, man. And I think it's just going to take a little bit for some more eyeballs to get in front of you, and some magic's going to happen. And that's what it's all about. That's it, man. A good thing is I'm a marathoner. Hey. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. All right, so we've touched on analytics. I think I've touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. And now it's kind of opened up for Q&A. But I like drive more, but you should use the word run. Run at your own pace. It suits you. Sometimes it's nice, cool drive. Yeah, it's a very good point. And I actually talk about this in I actually think it's my next my episode 2 of the podcast. I actually talk about this as well, right? And hustle, it's a bit of a cliche thrown around word that, I mean, I've always liked hustle for me personally because that's just the way I've been brought up, but it can kind of give the wrong intention or idea because there's a lot of people say if you want something, you're going to have to work late all night and get it done, kind of thing. And that's not the intent, right? The way I look at hustle is you're doing something with grit, right? You're pushing through, you're getting it done, or you're doing something which is smart, which is benefiting you. Now, that's why I like to say a bit of a side hustle, so when I first started doing reselling, which was back in, I think I was 12 when I first did it, and I was selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards on eBay, on my parents' eBay. That was, a bit of hustling, right? It was a bit of what I was doing. I was buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards off my friends for like $20, getting all their cards, decks, and then I would go and sell, one card for $150. So that's the way I look at it. But you're right, hustle, go hard. It is too hard. Yeah, and that's not what I want to do. I don't want to tell people to go burn out. What I want to tell people to do is, find your side hustle and, go chase it, pursue it. And I think I'm very clear in that in the episode, if you ever do listen to it, but for everyone's sake is, people need to realize that, for instance, this is an example of what I'm doing. And sorry, I keep pointing because I'm looking at my screen, but what I'm building out here is, yes, I've set it for a year's goal, but if I don't hit the year, I'm going to continue to grow and continue to build and continue to chase what I'm doing. But I don't have to do that 24 hours a day. The whole idea of this lifestyle is to mean that I don't have to work weekends, that I can do this when I want to do it. I can build something which is accustomed to me, means I'm going out and doing my running. I'm going out, I can still play video games. I'm still collecting things. I'm able to do audiobooks. So what I'm trying to really create and show here is that here I am doing so many different things, but it's not because I'm burning myself out or because I'm having to work 12, 15-hour days, but because I have a system, I have a process, I have a lifestyle that is enabling me to do this. And that's just the way I'm hustling, right? Or the way I'm going about it. Because you're right, if you're going to be, like Gary Vee says, you work your 9 to 5 and then you do your 7 till 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. in the morning to get your dream stuff happening. Well, it's just not realistic, right? I mean, people do it and there's nothing wrong with that. And kudos to them, but that's not for everyone. And we don't have time for that. We have families, we have lives, we have responsibilities. It's not realistic. I know for some people we will do that and they do that, and that's 100% fine. And sometimes we will burn the midnight oil. Like, here I am, 10:30 at night, and I'm doing a live stream, but I'm not doing this because because I'm trying to be like boom, boom, boom. I'm doing it because, well, one, I enjoy doing it and I want to be doing it and I'm sharing it, and it's the time I have. It's the time when people are available. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. I don't have to do this, but that's the intention behind it. So yeah, coming back to being anxious for time, if you do have questions, chuck them in. The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on is a few little areas that I'm still got coming to the, well, I guess to the channel, or more that I'll be starting to touch on down the line, is I've got things around, so drumming. So that was one area that I mentioned in my first goals video at the start of the year, is like, I want to get back into drumming. I'd been drumming since I was 6, and I kind of neglected it last year because of COVID, and I was originally teaching it, and a lot of things changed, which we all know. But I want to get back into that. So my next big goal in the next, probably 30 days is to see what I can do to make this happen now that I've got the podcast happening. And the way I'm going to achieve this is, so at the moment I have an acoustic kit, which is kind of bundled up and just sitting in the spare room. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to sell it, get an electric drum kit, so then I can actually play at any time at my leisure, removing the friction that I have to do it at a certain time. Because I have an electric drum kit, I can play at any time that I want. So that's probably my next thing that I'm trying to achieve in the next 30 days or so. Just make that happen, or move me closer to it, because I want to be able to share that, have a few funny ideas that I can bring that into the channel with my reselling and stuff as well. So I thought that would be something cool to just remind. The other thing that I would love to do is, I kind of mentioned around my hobby around some of the Pokemon cards in the background and things like that. And that's been it's been so cool being able to watch other people breaking boxes and stuff. So I want to get a bit involved with that with a few different other streamers and a few other content creators, and just have some fun. So that'll be coming up as well. Excuse me. A few different things like that. And then the video games, as I start to progress in those, I want to share those journeys as well, and bring a few different elements. And just, once again, I'm not here to, all of a sudden saying this is now a gaming channel or something like that. It's more just saying, hey, these are just little updates and this is how I'm doing it, and sharing those bites and snippets. So that's my intent there. Thank you, Jashim. I appreciate that. You'll definitely love the next video. Chris got a preview of this. It's good. It's a good video. If anyone in the chat not subscribed to FitLab, this guy, Aaron, he is an amazing fella. Not just because, as you can see, his picture, but he knows his stuff when it comes to personal training. If you're trying to lose weight or fitness, or just following the nutrition, he has a whole business called FitLab. So go check him out. Great guy, Aaron. You're the man. Really, really do appreciate you being here. And he's got really funny content. It's really important, and it's really informative, but he brings all elements of fun, excitement, information, education, and a bit of jokes and fun and laughter there. So he's got the full package. All right, I think we're on the tail end now. Once again, if you do have questions, let me know. Of course, people can leave in the comments. If you're watching this in as a replay, it's been really good to be able to just hang out, share once again. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, this has been good. It's been great. It's gone real quick. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've missed or wanted to share. I don't think there is. I've got another video coming out on Saturday, and then I'll have probably a race video for my 25K run coming out on the Monday. And then a few different things coming out next week as well. I've got the podcast that I just mentioned that's now released, Furrii Your Lifestyle. Please go check that out. Really do appreciate anyone that's been watching this or listening to this. And here I am saying, yeah, now go watch more stuff. But of course, in your own time, when you have time. If you can't, that's fine as well. Just seeing a few messages coming in. What state? Oh, okay. I'm in Victoria, Melbourne. I'm going to say I'm great catching up, seeing your face. Thanks, Jashim. I really do appreciate it, mate. You have a wonderful day. I'm about to go to bed after this, but you're about to wake up and get it all done. So have a lovely day, man. Thanks for your best pal. Appreciate that. Oh, you're so welcome, man. It speaks for itself, and you're a great guy just to chat to as well. So appreciate the love and for you being here. Yeah, so well, that's it, folks. Really do appreciate it. If you have other questions, you can hit me up anytime on Instagram or on here as well. Uh, funny, Victoria's funny. Where are you from, Captain? Oh, wait, are you in South Australia? I can't remember. I really can't remember. I think you're in South Australia, if I remember correctly. Hmm. I'm waiting for it to come through. But while you respond, and maybe you can message me later if you don't want to respond it publicly. But yeah, once again, appreciate everyone being here. It's been great. A lot of fun, a lot of games, and it's really good. This is the second time doing this year. This is my third live stream, and I actually feel just so comfortable, just so chilled, just chatting and whatnot. So it's great to know that I've got a great community to be able to share this with, and yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way. So I really do appreciate it. Yeah, go to bed, man. You're making me feel tired. Thanks for being here, FitLab. Appreciate it. Then to change it. Okay, fair enough, man. We'll leave that debate for another day. Appreciate you being here, Captain. Everyone else, really do appreciate you being here, whether it's other side of the world or if you're in here in Australia. If you're here in Australia, you're probably all going to go to bed. If you're in the other side of the world, you're probably just getting up and getting things done. So any vanity metric that you're pursuing? Vanity metric. So what do you mean by this, Jashim? Like a bad metric? I don't know what you mean. Sorry. Any vanity metric that you're pursuing? Yeah. So look, yes, that's a good point. So, well, so my one focus is the 100K revenue, 100K revenue, 100%. The nice to have is the 1K subs because they don't relate to each other. The 100K revenue is the one that I'm setting out to achieve, and that one also has a bit more, I guess, meat to it because it will be my source of income as well. But you know it's an ambitious goal. If I meet half of that, I'll be quite happy because it's my first year doing this. So that's what I'm aiming for in terms of what 1K subs. That's it's a nice to have, but having 1K subs doesn't change really anything unless I'm monetized and have 4,000 hours watch time. 1K subs doesn't do anything for me. So at the end of the day, the 100K revenue is my priority. I think as I just continue sharing the journey, the 1K subs, 2,000 subs, $500 in a month YouTube will come naturally. Yeah. Good question. Good question. Cool. All right, folks. Thanks very much. Really do appreciate being here. I'm going to have some sleep time myself. And of course, if you are watching this in the replay, do let me know in the comments below. Very curious to know if you are. And yeah, all have a wonderful time. Thank you. Thanks, man.